Are you on the Facebook page too, or?
No, I didn't do Facebook. Can you do that,
Okay.
please and thank you?
Yep.
Do I have to keep?
I had to take it over, but I'll give you access.
Okay.
Just have to find you in the list.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever
Good
you may
morning.
be.
Good
All
morning. Good morning. Well, good afternoon. It's noon.
right. Okay.
Good
Uh,
morning and congratulations, Lee.
Thank you. Um, the congratulations for those of you that did not hear is that I am officially the new Chief Marketing Officer at chiefaiofficer.com. So
Woo! Way to go.
I am thrilled for that. Certainly something I've wanted for a long time and have been working in parallel with this amazing organization. It's great product, it's great service, it's great people. So I am at the next level and ready to take everything and everybody to the next level with me. How's that sound? Okay, this is the Friday, Chief AI Officer Ask Me Anything and Catch Up call. I would like to welcome those of you who may be here for the first time. We had a challenge this week, a really great challenge, very well attended. And we have a lot of new people that are coming into our AI Insider community. So if you were on the challenge and you are joining us here for the first time, I'd like to welcome you. And this is our Friday call, so feel free to observe, feel free to listen, and feel free to participate. I also want to welcome everybody who is catching us on the live stream today. So if Segovia did his magic voodoo, then we should be on Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. And I think they're picking us up on the International Space Station today. So we will be broadcasting far and wide all over the place. I have the agenda for today is pretty much the agenda like we have every week. So, real briefly, going to go over what happened in the Chief AI Officer world this week, what happened in the AI world itself this week, and then Q&A, Q&A, Q&A. So, this call is primarily focused on Q&A. We're here to help you answer questions, resolve problems that you may be having working on things, and just, get you moving further down the AI journey that we are all on. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to just come off mic mute and interrupt me. I'm fine with that. But we are here. We're all here to support each other. We're here to get questions resolved and continue down the journey, like I said. So again, welcome everybody. Appreciate you taking a slice of your time on a Friday. I know your time is valuable. It's one of the two most valuable resources you have, time and money, right? So we appreciate your time very, very much, and we want to make sure that you get value from today's call. I would like to begin the call with congratulations to a bunch of our newest certified chief AI officers. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name, but here we go. We got a big list this week. Congratulations to Patty Dominguez, Mark Garrett, Andrew Lopez, Eitan Pollinger, Jonathan Harbour, Tyrese Niswander, and we also announced these last week, but we'll include them in the batch for this week as well. Why not? Ruth Favela and Mike Gerlich. So I want to give just a big congratulations, and everybody send some love to all the fellow new chief AI officers that are here. There are people ahead of you on the journey. There are people behind you on the journey, but this is a milestone. I know the amount of work that needs to go into this and what it takes to make it happen. So really, really happy that you guys and gals that you all have achieved this significant milestone. Be proud of it. Let the world know about it. Get the Certified Chief AI Officer badge and get it on your LinkedIn profile. Make an announcement on LinkedIn. Add it to your signature block in your emails. Feel free to, just let the world know. So it's an important achievement, and you should own it because you did it. And again, congratulations to everybody who achieved that status. Again, I want to welcome new members that we have joining us today for the first time. This call, the Friday call and the Monday call, we do calls all during the week, but the Friday call and the Monday call is open to the public. You do not have to be a member of our Chief AI Officer Insider community. If you are not a member of our community yet, we encourage you to please check it out. I just threw a link in there. But this call is open to everybody, and I want to welcome everybody who may not be in our insider community yet, who may have joined us as a result of the challenge this week. Check out our AI Insider community. It is a free trial, so 14-day free trial, and join the community, and you'll see more about what's in the community when I get into my process here. We have in our community a leaderboard, and there was an earthquake in the leaderboard. I want to congratulate Karan for taking the top spot in the leaderboard this week. Well played, sir. Very well played. Kim Hodgson. And I want to welcome Andrew Lopez to joining the top tier. The leaderboard, you don't win a prize. You get accolades from our community. Oh, okay. Thanks, Segovia. So we just want to acknowledge your contributions, your participation in the community. That's what this is all about. I mean, the certification is cool. Prompt Vault is excellent. Smart cuts are amazing, but the value that you get from this community is priceless. You can't pay and get this kind of interaction and contribution that comes from being a part of our AI Insider community. So you can go in there, you can ask questions, you can share your wins and finds, but this is the most engaging uh, and active participating community that I've ever been in. Segovia is showing you some of the screenshots of what actually is in the community. Check it out. Again, just a quick reminder that we added two new features into our community recently. We've added the capstone projects section. A capstone project is what you need to do to complete and achieve your AI certification. So if you want to go in and take a look at the capstone projects that other people have finished, and we've got them up there for you to check it out. If you're in process on your certification journey, take a look at these capstone projects as examples of what you will need to be preparing. Just think about, what the topic's going to be, and take a look at how people have prepared and presented these. And it's also just a great place to learn stuff. I've gone and checked some of them out, and it's another learning component of what's available in our community for us to continue our progress in learning about AI. And guess what? It's never done, folks. There's new stuff that's coming out every day. It changes every week. It changes every minute. And if you're not a lifelong learner, boy, you better change your mode to being a lifelong learner if you're going to play in the AI space, because things change and change fast.
And just to
We,
recap there, because we've had so many graduates this week, we have not yet had a chance to post some of these capstones, but I think there's like 8 or 9 people you just mentioned. So if anybody is against the idea, typically we'll post your capstones into the gallery, and I will be reaching out, or somebody else on the team will reach out and say, okay, your capstone's been posted in the gallery. And I would encourage, by next week, you guys, if you haven't, even if you've already graduated, go back and watch some of these. They're incredible. The information, like, there's only so much that we can bring as a company. into the training and the knowledge and the space, but you guys all have domain expertise, and this is, you'll learn things. I guarantee it. I just sit there with popcorn like all night long watching capstones.
This is Segovia. Thank you. And for those of you that may not know who Segovia is, he is our Chief Operating Officer and Chief Product Officer at chiefaiofficer.com. So you'll see him pop in and out on calls. He actually does a call on Tuesday on prompting, which we'll get to. But the community aspect and the capstone projects are another component of how we continue to bring educational value to people that are in this program. So the certification program is great. That's a block of content, core foundational stuff that you really need to understand and will be part of everything that you build on top of. But capstone projects are continuing education. The calls that we do every day of the week, during the week, are continuing education. So just like doctors and other professionals like CPAs need to go back to school, they do it like once a year, and they get this thing called continuing education credits that they have to maintain in order to continue to support their professional certifications. This is very similar to that. So it's ongoing, and Capstone Projects is another new great place to ramp up your knowledge base, and they're interesting, and I've watched some of them, and I've had, wow, I didn't think of that. That's really cool. More than one occasion. So check out the Capstone Projects. We also have added our mentor calls, which are part of the community now. So again, we keep adding new stuff to the community. It keeps on growing, and guess what? You're not paying anything more for it. We keep bringing the value. So find a mentor. These people have volunteered, Terry, Chris, Christy, myself, to make time available on our calendar for a call. So if you've got a question, if you've got a concern, if there's something that we can help you with, this is a great place. Grab a slot on our calendar. We're here to help. We're here to share. We're here to learn collectively. And our Find a Mentor component is a new element of that. I want to compliment people who have already taken advantage of it and are booking some calls and having those conversations. If you don't have the need, that's fine. When you have the need, don't forget that it's there. You jumping in again?
Yeah, I'm jumping in again. I don't know if this is on your announcement. Did you have the Monday call in your
Yes.
the new one with Christy?
Yes.
Okay, I'll save that. I just wanted to make sure. Cool.
Be patient, Padawan.
Okay.
All righty. So speaking of the challenge, we just had one. It was a 3-day challenge. We did something unique this time, where we actually did a session in the afternoon and then a session in the evening. We had a great response to it. If you were on the challenge and you're joining us on the call today, if you would like to catch any of the replays, they are in the community. If you are already an AI insider, and let's say that you did the challenge 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we do refresh the content in the challenge pretty much every time and update some things in the challenge pretty much every time that we do these. So there may be value in you going back, if you've already done a challenge and you're in our program and you're in our community, to go back and take a look at some of these replays. If you are on this call with us today for the first time and you just came through the challenge, the replays are available and you can go check those out. And I also want to remind people who might be joining us for the first time today that the offer we made during the challenge is valid until midnight Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. So if you haven't made up your mind yet, if you need to schedule a call, or if there's anything that we can do to help you in the decision-making process, please let us know, reach out. But the recordings will always be in our community, They will not always be on Facebook. So they're up on Facebook. They come down on Sunday. They're here for the week, for the duration of the challenge week, but they're always in here. And it looks like we actually made a little bit of a change where we've kept the challenge recordings from last month are still up there along with the brand new ones. We also have changed things where we keep calling it a 3-day challenge, but it really is a 4-day challenge. So the challenge itself runs for 3 days, but we've added a component on Saturday. We talk a lot about different kinds of tools and things on the challenge. Do that mostly on the first day of the challenge. On Saturday, we've now added a call where Chris is our fearless leader, is going in and doing kind of a deep dive for a couple of hours on the tools that were highlighted during the challenge. Again, continuous education. So if you've been through a challenge, go catch a recording of the Saturday call. If you've been in our community and you want to get a quick peek of what's new on the tool radar that was presented in the challenge, join us on the Saturday call. So you don't have to be part of the challenge. The Saturday call is open to everybody in the community. It's on Facebook, and it's noon Eastern, I believe, Segovia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you're in the program and you're already a CIO or you've even graduated and you haven't attended one of those, you'll probably get some value. I think even if you were to go and attend 2 of those Saturday workshops, you'd probably get value, because the difference is we're kind of workshopping through tools, and it's not scripted, where you can ask questions and say, oh, hey, I'm using that tool. So the tools that are covered on Monday typically go 20 minutes each on, a deep dive into how the tool is used, what are some advanced tips and tricks you can do. Usually Chris is leading that. I'll pop in for some color and flavor and commentary. But yeah, it's a deep dive. So
Excellent. So again, we're adding more value. We're adding more places where you can pick up education, refresh, the stuff that you have consumed already, and just stay up to date. We're trying to provide as many ways for the community to stay up to date and current in as many places as possible. And it's a huge advantage to our program compared to a lot of other programs that are out there. A lot of the other programs are, hey, great, sign up, do something, and you're done and you're gone. And that's not what we're about. So you just had on the screen there a list of all the tools that, I don't know if that's for this week's Saturday call or it was last Saturday's call. Andrew, sir, how can I help you today?
I just wanted to add, even, I mean, gone through the course and you're certified, or, you think that you've gotten everything out of it. These webinars, the daily webinars, are so valuable. You'll pull nuggets out of it and you can find use case to apply to whatever you're working on. So I want to urge everyone to jump on those. Even if you don't think, oh, this doesn't pertain to what I'm doing or the project I'm working on, I would, urge you just to get on a couple and see what you get out of it. And I think they'll be valuable. I've just been noticing that trend with myself. So it's on my calendar, so, and you guys see me on here. So I just want to, bring that to everybody. Once you're done, it's not over. It keeps going. And the community is I see as the most valuable asset.
It is. And I
Amen.
appreciate that. Thank you, Andrew. Steve?
Amen. I learn
Okay.
something new every single time I go to a workshop or an event. So I just keep coming.
It's worth it. As I say, even if I just walk away with one aha, or, oh, I didn't know that, or, oh, that's a different way of doing that I hadn't thought about, it's worth it for me. We have such a diverse community of people coming from such different backgrounds, different ways that we're applying this or trying to apply this in our worlds. And yeah, so again, you can't be on every call. We get that. That's why all the call recordings are there. And that's why we do this call on Friday, which is to try to catch everybody up to, hey, what happened in the week? And oh, that sounds like an interesting call that Wayne did on Wednesday. Thanks, Lee. I'll go check that out. So that's what the Friday catch-up call is kind of a summary of what happened this week, what you should go check out and pay attention to and consume at the rate that you can consume it. It's a fire hose. We get that. We're trying to distill it down. We're trying to curate it as best as we possibly can, and we're trying to be your single source of where you go to stay up to date on everything. Because there are so many newsletters, there are so many YouTubers, there are so many places where there are self-professed gurus that are out there spewing stuff. We want to be the place. We want to be the anchor where you know that what we're putting out is valid and it's fresh and it's current and most importantly, it's helpful. Segovia.
Just real quick as a pro tip, I don't know how many of you guys use, maybe just raise your hand if you do this all the time or not. Inside the community area, there is a search box up in the top. Do you guys find that you're searching that very frequently? Okay, so the pro tip would be if you are in need of something and you're like, oh, I need to solve and scratch an itch, or oh, I just heard about this tool somebody recommended that I try, clay, or like any tool name, you can do a search for the tool and it'll pull up not only, oh, here's some people that have been talking about it, discussing it. Oh, here's the 3 smart cuts that we have that are related to it. Here it was covered on a Monday tools call. It was covered on a Saturday workshop, and all of those results will come in and you can just go deep on the subject of one thing. Obviously you can ask questions about, the tool, and the community will come in and chime in, but you can get we cover a lot of traction, and that way you can dig through the archives very quickly.
Great point. Thank you, Segovia. And as our community grows, as our library of content that we're creating, I mean, if you think about, Chris's podcast and stuff on YouTube and, everything that happens across all our platforms and all the calls that we do and the challenges that we do, we're cranking out a lot of content every week. So as our community grows, as that living database of the community grows, it is searchable. I've done multiple times. I've gone in there and looked for something and been able to surface the result that I'm looking for. So as we go forward, that's just going to keep getting better and better. But that's a great pro tip. Really appreciate that.
And as I mentioned, somebody asked a question earlier in the chat. I think it was private to me, like, "Hey, where do I get that badge to be certified?" And I just went up and typed in badge, and boom, I see a post from Lee, a month ago, says promote thyself. So if you're now a chief AI officer, I will pop the link in the main chat, but you can use that on your signature, footer, wherever you want.
Yeah, the actual badge. Yeah, the badge files, the image files are there. It is promote thyself. I should have mentioned that when I was talking about it. Thanks for surfacing that.
What I would like to add is to Segovia is if you go to the settings and if you enable all the emails, so what happens is when somebody posts, you will get an email notification. So usually what happens is I check my email so I know what are the posts. And if there's certain posts that I want to read, I just click, it just straight goes to that post. So that might be useful as well.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, that's under your picture, and then you just go to notifications.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So you can toggle that on and off. So yeah, it's a good way to see something just, pops up during the day, and you read the subject line and it's like, oh, that sounds interesting.
It's
All right.
worth making another announcement because I know we're just coming off the backside of a challenge. And for those that might not be, maybe you're thinking about becoming certified, but for the 8 or 9 people that just graduated, you have all made the cut. So the offer of, if you're in the top 100 graduates, of this year, you will get lifetime membership to the community. So, winner for all of you. And so the logistic of that is if you're already paying, you probably wouldn't be unless you just signed up like last week and graduated so fast, which does happen from time to time. But if you were paying, we can work on getting the cancellation of the current membership. Normally it would just be your first year would be included with the first year of the community is included with your certification, but with the lifetime, you won't have to kick in at the end of a year. So
Yeah, so that is going to change at some point downrange. And yeah, there's just more value for being, part of the charter community as we're getting this thing growing and rolling. And that's a tremendous value and benefit for you as being someone who's taken fast action and taken
it's also
massive action.
motivation for anybody that's been in the program and just maybe hasn't actually gotten their certificate. Maybe they've completed the whole course. Maybe they didn't do their capstone, and the only thing standing between, getting that extra little gravy is completing your capstone. So if that looks like that's you, make sure you communicate with me that you're going to get that done. If you have any questions, you can schedule a call with me.
Which brings the next question. So far, how many has already graduated as Chief AI Officer? And one more suggestion that I would put is you start putting the number. Okay, you are graduate number 1, 2, 5, 50, 60, some kind of a, so
I love your
again,
enthusiasm. And believe me, I get that question a lot. In terms of the tracking, I can say, Raj, if you get it to me next week, I promise you will make the cut. I don't have an exact handle on whether that's 55 or 80, but I will make sure that if you make it in by next week, you'll make it under the wire.
Absolutely.
And I think it's great to actually publish that. It's just logistics and timing, bandwidth, but
Yep,
maybe we'll get
exactly.
there.
All right, so we are at the juncture of our call. Again, I want to, say greetings to people that have joined us in the last few minutes. If you're coming in from the challenge, welcome. This is the Friday Q&A call, and I will repost a link in here if you missed the replay, or if you missed the challenge and you want to watch the replays, or if you missed a day or two, or you just want to go back and revisit them to solidify your decision on coming into our program and joining this amazing community. That's where the replays are. So we are at the point of the call where time to share your wins. So wins of the week. What did you accomplish? What did you create? Who did you sign up as a new client? What call did you have? Share the wins of the week. Let's go, Mark.
Yeah, so obviously, thank you for acknowledging becoming a Chief AI Officer, certified Chief AI Officer. I'm really excited about that. On the heels of that, some opportunities have magically opened up. We just got invited to head up a practice division inside a international consulting consortium. And so they want us to take on the AI role, and they have several positions of Chief X Officer, and they've asked if I would fulfill the Chief AI Officer role inside the community. There's 100 consultants in this group from South Africa to Australia to Canada, United States. And so that just happened 2 days ago. So pretty excited about that. And then we finalized our Ontario Center of Innovation application. So we'll be going to market to help companies across the province with the implementation and deployment of AI. And so as an extension also, as several of the people I've spoken to, we're going to need some help. So we'll be reaching out. So if you've got domain expertise in applying AI to things like HR or whatever, there's going to be some great opportunities. And I see this going forward, internationally, Europe and Australia and South Africa. Nobody is talking about this stuff at the level that we are. So it's just again, it's a plug, but it's also just an acknowledgement of the great work that you guys have done in pulling this forward. So huge wins, and thank you very much. And yeah, it's exciting times. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mark. That's excellent. Would you consider your participation in the context you just shared as a fractional Chief AI Officer in that
That's correct.
context? All
That's
right.
correct. Yeah.
So could you share with the group your definition of what a fractional Chief AI Officer is and kind of how that works?
Yeah, so it's still in formation because they want it to align with what they're currently doing with all the other fractional officers. But in our definition currently as it sits, it will be both a education and advisory, and then an accountability and installing governance and installing some of those bigger programs. The other part of it is really in leadership alignment and be able to bring leadership up to speed so that they understand what they need to do, and then help to identify the cohort of individuals, the AI individual, or the people that want to be that center of change for adoption of AI and to help with that. So it's going to be providing those resources. And then on an ongoing basis, it's to provide a point of reference for team to be able to have the most up-to-date information. So I will be leveraging a lot of what we do on a weekly basis, specifically on this call, to bring that information forward to help educate clients and team members so that the employees become AI enabled. So that's really how we see it, is really to support leadership and management through the adoption and implementation of AI at a strategic level, at a tactical level, at a daily changes perspective, so that they know what's going on.
Sweet. Great description. So for people that are thinking about, how do I deploy what I learn? Do I go get a job working somewhere as a chief AI officer? Do I start my own business and, be a consultant or whatever? The fractional model. So whether you're a fractional chief AI officer, or you're a fractional chief marketing officer, or you're a fractional chief financial officer, a lot of companies have a demand or a need for someone in that role. It may be transitional. Somebody may have left and they're doing a search that might take a year, and they need someone to step into that role for a bridge period of time. It may be to supplant and add extra horsepower to the existing executive level to work on some particular initiatives, or they may, in particular for the chief AI officer role, it's kind of like, well, the chief marketing officer doesn't really want it, and the chief information officer or the chief data science officer kind of really don't want it. So it's kind of a unique position, and companies know that they need to get going with this, and they know that it's going to be a lengthy cycle to bring somebody in, if they can even find somebody. And that's, the gap in the marketplace is there just aren't enough people who have this knowledge, who have the experience that we're building here, to be able to go into these organizations and do that. So being a fractional chief AI officer, where you bring your expertise to multiple organizations, and serve them in different capacities, but you're serving multiple clients at once, is a proven model. It's a proven model that exists in the chief marketing officer space, the the chief financial officer space, chief HR space. So yeah, fractional chief AI officer is a thing, and people are looking at it, and it's, absolutely a way to think of how you can position yourself in the market space. Yes, sir.
Lee, just to extend upon that, and for those who are listening, who aren't at this level yet, one of the other things that's become critically apparent and was part of our capstone was the whole concept of paradox of choice. And so a simple Google search on "I need to learn how to use ChatGPT" overwhelms people. And so, as Chris has often said, the confused mind says no. So part of the role that we're starting to see ourselves fall into is the ability to help businesses make those choices and provide a single source of reference that has the skills and the background to be able to make those recommendations and say, yes, there's 50 people that can train you on how to create a prompt, but the company is going to use this methodology, this process, and this is going to be our guidelines. And so that's the other part of it too, is to help set foundational knowledge that in practices. So just wanted to add that to the group.
Yeah, and that's very similar. That Mark, thanks. And that's very similar to what, Peter Diamandis said, which is, he's putting a chief AI officer role in every one of his portfolio companies. And one of the things that person needs to do is be scanning the horizon, to have that, spyglass, optical out there, standing on the front of the boat and looking at what's coming forward, and to be able to bring that into the organization. So that's a big
I
piece.
was gonna say, I spend a good portion of my day just educating people. Like, I didn't even know there was a chief AI officer. Like, what do you actually do? What can you do? So I think there's still a lot of room for us to get out there and spread the word. And I think that's how you'll get business.
It is, and that's a big part of what we do, Steve, is defining what the role, because A year ago, a lot of people thought the role of a chief AI officer was someone who needed to have machine learning and computer science background and the ability to, put their hand on the neural network and do a Vulcan mind meld with it but that's not it. That's not what the chief AI officer is. And that's one of the big reasons we're doing what we're doing, which is to educate the market space and to wrap a definition around what the core competencies of that position are and how those core competencies get deployed and can be of value to an organization. So yes, it's an educational process. We're well aware of it. It's a big piece of why we exist. Andrew.
Yeah, just to add to what Mark was talking about, if you were on last night's call with Chris Landon, the workflow automation, and how the conversation just kind of took its own course, right? And it it turned into a great conversation. But it's at the same time, we were talking about tools about empowering employees and helping them come around that curve, and understanding AI, and creating those custom chat GPTs and workflows to help them, and just it's like I saw as a great introduction. It's like if we're bringing these initiatives to organizations, to your team, or if you're a consultant, you're bringing it to a customer, a client. That's a great spot to start. You're getting their feet wet, and it's making that you're empowering them is what you're really doing, and getting them to understand the power, what your intent is. And I think that's our biggest hurdle as chief AI officers is that rollout phase and getting that buy-in from everybody. And once that is there, the wheels start turning so much faster. So if you haven't listened, definitely go back to that recording from last night. It was great. And that'll make you throw your fence over the back, throw your backpack over the fence, as Segovia says.
That's Segovia's favorite. One of Segovia's favorite expressions. Andrew, thanks. I appreciate that so much. Laura Lee, yes, all of the calls are recorded. The recordings for the calls are typically up in the insider community within 24 hours of the call. So that will be available. And Andrew, I just want to pick up on one thing that you said there in terms of the conversation and what was happening on the call. The calls that we have Monday through Friday during the week are not talking head, instructor, blah, 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 here's content type of calls. These are interactive calls. I'm going to mention it in a few minutes, but the first 30 minutes of Wayne's call on Wednesday was people talking and sharing and conversing and answering questions and asking questions. These are all very, very interactive calls where we're tapping into the hive mind of the community. And as I said, people are bringing their perspectives and their backgrounds into these calls. They're bringing their needs of what they're trying to accomplish. And yeah, last night's call was great. The recording is great, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So thanks, Andrew. I appreciate you bringing that up. Anybody else got any wins for the week? All right, I got a win. I'm now the chief marketing officer for chiefaiofficer.com. Yay, that's my win. Woohoo!
Say that 3 times fast.
I just want everybody to know nothing's changed. Okay. I'm still going to be here doing the Friday call. I'm still going to be active in the community as I have been. If you have reached out to me in the past for things that I can help you with, I'm still here to do that. So if you need me for something, if I can help you, it's Lee at chiefaiofficer.com. Reach out to me anytime. Chris and Segovia and myself try to make ourselves as available as we possibly can be to members of the community to, answer questions, bounce ideas, whatever it is. So yes, my world is changing and I'm now running like a greyhound on a racetrack, but I'm still going to be here doing everything that I've been doing. So none of that changes, and I forgot to mention that earlier. So if no one else has any other wins for the week, anybody going once?
I was just going to say you're joining the ranks of Segovia's schedule.
Yeah, you don't want to look at my calendar.
The
Steve.
Oscar one up there, I don't want to be repetitive, but I will tell everyone this, repetition is definitely the way to get things done. I've gotten more and more appointments just by continuously putting my leads out through LinkedIn, using my outbound LinkedIn lead generator, making phone calls, reaching out to old friends, people on LinkedIn that I used to talk to and haven't talked to in a while, and just telling them what I'm doing. And all of a sudden, I'm getting appointments. And people want to know more, and they want to talk to me about doing the database regeneration project, as well as how I can help them. So if you're just starting out doing this stuff, don't give up. Get out there and start talking to people. Just keep repeating yourself. They want to know about it. Everyone's interested.
As I've said, Steve, thanks. As I've said, it's like moths coming to a light. If you're in a networking event, if you're sitting at dinner with friends and family, if you're, hanging out, grabbing a beer with friends, if you start talking about AI, people lean in and they're like, "Oh, tell me more about that," or what are you doing there? And uh what's going on? And yeah, you just, it's like moths. So people will come to you and want to tap your brain and listen to what you've got to say. All right, I'm going to jump into a screen share over here, and I want to continue the call. um just a heads up, we are at 12:41, so about 15 minutes left in the call schedule. We're probably going to go a little bit long, as I typically do on these calls. Um, and I was going to apologize for that, but I'm not, because we're here giving value. So if you need to leave at the top of the call, at the top of the hour, fully understand, appreciate you being here. Have a great weekend. If you leave and want to catch the end of the call, the recording will be up in the AI Insider community. And if you hang out, as I go through what I've got to share now, then basically I'm going to be covering news events that happened outside our community in the world of AI that I think are important for us to know about. And then I'm going to be talking about a quick review of the calls that happened this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you can hang out, great. If you need to bounce out, I appreciate that. Catch the recording. And again, appreciate you all being here, but that is my plan going forward. We're going to go a little bit longer than the hour. And that seems to be the pattern that this call is taken, and I am 100% fine doing that. All right. So let me jump into a screen share here. See if that works. We good? All right.
We can see your screen.
All right. 1 second.
I mean, we see Chris on a landing page.
Yeah, okay. I lost
Is that
chat.
not the right tab?
No, 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 I'm good. I lost my chat window for a second. Okay. Looking at news that happened this week, there is all right. All right. Apologies, but it did not. Okay. I have an issue. Arc is not letting me recall tabs very well. Apologize for that. Okay.
Uh-oh, did it close all the tabs from last night?
Yeah, it did, and I even added the plugin for opening yesterday's tabs, and that doesn't work. So anyhow, apologies. I need to get some more memory in my computer so I can keep more tabs open. So
Oh, Segovia giving us arc and it's falling on its face.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no, no,
kidding.
no, no, no. No, no, no. Don't not throwing Segovia under the bus here. All right. So in news, Dario Amodei is the CEO of Anthropic. Anthropic is the company that brings us the Claude large language model. And Dario is not someone who has typically put a lot of content out there. He's not, all over Twitter and, on the talk shows and the YouTubers like Sam Altman from OpenAI is. So when Dario speaks, it's worth paying attention to. And Dario's lineage goes back to Google DeepMind, I think. But as the CEO of Anthropic, he just put out a 15,000 word essay that's titled Machines of Loving Grace and How AI Could Transform the World for the Better. This is sparking some serious debate in the world of AI. People are saying, is Amadei prescient? Is he crazy? Is he disingenuous? So it's worth taking a look at it. And again, why does it matter? It matters because he's the CEO of a frontier model company. So the large language models, Google, Meta, OpenAI, Anthropic, the large language frontier model companies are out there on the front edge. They have stuff in the labs that we haven't even seen. So just think about if we're getting what they are releasing, oh my gosh, what's still in the lab and what amazing things do they have? So when these founders are speaking, when Sam Altman's out there or Dario Amodei is out there, they know what's in the lab. They've seen what's in the lab and they've seen what's coming. So if you want to, I'm sure Dario's going to probably be hitting up some YouTube channels. I'm sure you can take his 15,000 word essay or manifesto and you can dump it into Notebook LM and it'll generate a 10 or 15-minute podcast for you on the highlights of what Dario talked about. So there's so many different ways to consume content these days. You don't have to read the 15,000 pages. You can get AI. A lot of AI tools will summarize it for you, but he talks about what's coming and what's coming down the road. The concept of what he's calling powerful AI, and there are a number of different AI ranking models that are out there. So OpenAI kind of has 5 levels of AI. Some other organizations have some different levels, but he talks about what's coming and really what the timeline may look like. And the reality is, as Paul Reitzer from Marketing AI Institute said, the reality is they all, so everyone who is driving these large language model, frontier model companies, they all think that within 2 years, the economy is going to look very different. Jobs are going to look very different, but nobody has an answer for what that means or even a reasonable idea of what it's going to really look like and what it's going to mean. Okay. So this is big picture stuff. It's not, in 5 years or 10 years. I mean, these guys, like I said, they know what's in the lab. So they have things that are going to be dropping in our laps, certainly much sooner than later. The next one is really interesting, and I bet it was on nobody's radar screen. So NVIDIA, we all know who NVIDIA is. NVIDIA has been around for a long time making graphic processor accelerators for gaming computers and all those kind of things. They're a huge, huge player in the AI space because the chips that they make are what power the AI models that we use every day. NVIDIA is also a huge, huge player in the data center infrastructure space. So when data centers are getting built and everybody's building data centers and buying nuclear reactors now, no joke. Microsoft just signed up to get the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor in Pennsylvania, the one where the accident was. They're not turning on the one that broke. That's unit number 2. But unit number 1, they are lighting it up again because with all these data centers that are getting built, that's gazillion watts of power that these things are going to need. So yes, AI companies are buying up nuclear power and starting up nuclear power generation facilities. Back to
Hey,
NVIDIA.
hey, Lee, can I add to this real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was on LinkedIn and I did notice NVIDIA is hiring. So any of you guys out there, they're looking for AI individuals right now. There's a few positions that keep coming up into my profile. So something to take a look at there. The other thing that really touched on that last article on Marketing Institute, um, machines of loving grace and how AI could transform the world for the better. That's us, guys. That's basically, who's behind it, who's creating those prompts, who's creating these workflows, who's, creating these they're like little micro apps is what, Chris was calling them, I think last night. And that's really, is going to set the foundation. This is really important to think about this, and incorporating this into your work, right? And even, it's providing that, what Matt was talking about last night is how do we provide the emotion? How do we provide that connection, right? This is it. This is, it's about the prompts that we're creating now, right? And creating that emotion. And what we'll see with Chat GPT 5, it's going to blow your head off. What you're going to see that's coming out of Adobe with Firefly, it's going to blow, they're taking their time though, because they're big public entities, right? They can't just throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. So the testing and stuff that they're doing is on a whole nother level. And there's going to be stuff that comes out in the market because you think they're the ones that have the deep pockets and they have access to, whatever verticals they're in. It 2025 is going to be something big, guys.
Yep.
So
And
definitely take a look.
and these Andrew, thank you. As always, and these companies are investing billions of dollars. It was $100 million or maybe now a couple $100 million to execute a training run for one of these large language models. Pretty soon it's going to be $1 billion to execute a training run. OpenAI just raised $6.7 billion. They also got a $4 billion credit line, but they're still going to lose like 10, $12 billion this year. And they're going to lose, so it's you really need deep pockets, to play in this space. But going back to NVIDIA, this is a really interesting thing. They quietly dropped this. There's a application called Hugging Face where a lot of the open source language models are out there, and they are putting this out there. They didn't make any kind of big noise about it. They didn't do a big press release. They didn't have Jensen, what's his name? Jensen, I forget his last name, but the CEO of NVIDIA who always wears a leather jacket. They didn't have him on stage doing anything, but they released this. It's reporting that it's one of the top scoring models that's out there on some of the rubrics that I'm sorry, some of the metrics that are out there to look at these things. And, nobody thought until this week, obviously people were guessing, but nobody thought that, oh, wow, NVIDIA is going to get into the large language model space. They're the chip guys. They're the data infrastructure guys. Guess what? They're in the large language model space now. So they've entered it, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with, without a doubt.
They actually did make an announcement back in May about this. I saw a roundtable with Jensen Huang and one of the guys from HP and another guy at an event, and he kind of it was like on the down low, but he was whispering like, "Yeah, we're going to be in there," and he was like, "Wait, you're going to eat your customers, lunch? Like that doesn't make any sense." But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it's an interesting horse race. It's interesting how there's a lot of leapfrogging going on. So OpenAI came out with Canvas, which had a lot of features that were in Anthropic. Anthropic answered this week by releasing a lot of things that they now do that are similar to what's in Canvas. So it keeps going back and forth. But pay attention to NVIDIA. Yeah, they're not going anywhere, and they're going to be a language model that you're going to be using pretty soon. All right. This is an important one. I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but last week I shared, search is changing, how search results are presented is changing, and what can, people, business owners, organizations do in this really rapidly changing environment of what's happening in search right now. So people are using Perplexity for search. Google had their AI summarized search results for a while. They took that off. It's now coming back online. So this is all what's called zero-click search. All right, where basically you put in a question and you get an immediate answer directly on the search engine's search result page without having to go click through to a website. So a zero-click search occurs when a user finds the answer directly in that result. It can be a featured snippet, it can be a direct answer, it can be a knowledge panel, it can be an AI overview, it can be a map result. Okay, those are all zero-click search results. According to a study, nearly 60%, 60 in 2024 of Google's search results ended without a click. All right. And what this can mean is less web traffic for websites, and all kinds of issues that are challenging marketers now. This article is by Rand Fishkin. Rand is a leader in the SEO and search space. He founded a company called Moz. So if you're familiar with Moz, he's one of the founders that left the company. He's now got his own company called SparkToro, which is a really interesting product unto itself. So if you want to check out SparkToro, that's an interesting product. But he's really on the front edge right now of talking about zero search traffic, and what we as content publishers and content creators need to be doing so that our company name and the content that we're publishing and putting out there comes up in a result in Perplexity, or comes up in a result for OpenAI's new Search GPT, which is rolling out, as I understand. So interesting article. This is a source. This guy's on top of it. He's on a very, very front edge of it. He's been looking around the corner. He's been seeing this coming. He's actually been talking about this for about a year now. And if you have something to do with traffic to a website, and whether you own that website or whether you're working for a customer, this is something that's really important to be paying attention to.
Yeah, to speak to this too, Lee, this is something I'm seeing over the last year with the campaigns for our clients. If we have the marketing agency with Dr. Genius, and we have this, SaaS solution behind it as well. But I'm running the Google Ads campaigns, and 90% of the traffic is going to the call extension, just straight click to call. So that, is another example that they're not even going to the website. It's the reputation that is actually pushing them through, because we're all going, especially, to when we're going to go to a dentist or, a service, we're all looking at the reviews, right? First and foremost. The website is like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go and look if we're looking for some additional information about the doctor or whatever. But a lot of those, the campaigns right now, it's not even going there. And it helps the dentist out or the client, because it reduces the amount of clicks, right? And we know that every click is a crack to lose that volume and that traffic.
Yep.
And it proves that the society wants that instant answer right now. They want the convenience. They don't want to have to click through, fill out a form, schedule an appointment. They want to just boom. They want that instant gratification. And that's just the world we live in right now. Everything's moving so fast, and they expect that, right? So I think Mark had something.
Yeah, Andrew, I'd like to add to that, because one of our partners, she's one of 7 people in Google that and a year and a half ago. She won Google's Trainer of the Year award. And that's exactly the strategy is with the Google Business Profile page. If that's not set up correctly with proper phone numbers and the ability to text in, Google will lower your ranking. And so their search strategy now is Google search to Google Business Profile to phone number. That is the optimum Google defined customer journey. And so to make that successful, in light of what we were just talking about these clickless searches, but to make that possible, then making sure that that phone number has somebody answering it, hence AI, conversational voice AI, and AI receptionists become a huge opportunity within that context. But that's really why that's happening it's by design. That's exactly what Google's doing. So just to build upon that. So
There's Andrew, thank you, Mark, thank you. Karan will be right there. There's actually a new industry. We've all heard about SEO, the search engine optimization industry. It's not going anywhere, but SEO practitioners are now having to learn a new skill, and it's called GEO, which is the generative engine optimization. So again, Perplexity, OpenAI's search that's coming out, Google search, Bing's product. So yeah, so GEO, generative engine optimization, is now something that people who have websites need to be paying attention to. Karan, thank you for being patient.
No problem. So there's another news. New York Times warned AI search engine Perplexity to stop using their content. I just put the link, but anyway. So that's
Yes.
another.
Yes. So this was in the news this week. This goes back to when the large language models hit the market. You know, where did they get their training data? Well, it's been publicly pretty much acknowledged by everybody now that they scraped everything on the website, I'm sorry, on the World Wide Web, with zero compensation or attribution to all of the creators and makers that put great content out there. Perplexity and the New York Times got into or they're continuing their tussle. Some of the providers, I'm thinking maybe it was Perplexity, actually has struck a deal like with Associated Press, where they're paying them for use of their content in the results, and that kind of looks like what the model is going to be. I don't think creators and makers are going to get compensated for everything that got scooped up in the initial training stuff that happened. But I think going forward, these large language model companies are going to need to strike deals and, pay for these content creators if they want to get, their stuff visible in the search engines.
It gets really sticky though, because then you start introducing bias, right? So, I think it's really important to keep the media companies out of this by all means.
It does.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, it does get sticky, and then there's the double-edged sword of the media companies can put up all kinds of blockers. So for example, Cloudflare, which is a content delivery network I covered on a call a couple of weeks ago, Cloudflare actually has a new feature in it where you can basically turn on blocking tools for website scrapers coming from the AI companies. So it's a double-edged sword. Do I want to protect my content and not have it appear in these generative engine results, or does that actually help me and get me more exposure? Interesting times. Yes, it's fun. Raj, thanks for being here, buddy. Have a great weekend. Okay. Moving on, and I appreciate the dialogue and I appreciate the conversation. That's what these calls are all about. This is a fun one, and then I'm going to move on to the calls that we had this week. But man, for years, people looking for a job have been getting a raw deal, okay? Because their resume goes into an optical character recognition scanner, and then it goes into some database, and there's probably some AI that's scanning it and reading it and looking for keywords and making decisions on whether the resume gets moved to the next level or not. Here's a quick article on a guy who I think I put that in here. This is a duplication. I apologize. So this is 404 Media, which is an independent journalism outlet. But here's an article about a guy who applied to 2,843 jobs using a bot inside of LinkedIn. So the tables have turned a little bit now. People looking for jobs have a little bit of a upper hand, not an upper hand now, but a little bit more of an even hand. And this is the great takeaway line here. By the time I finished breakfast, I had applied to 12 different jobs all over the United States. So people seeking jobs are starting to get some tools. The tool that he's using is called Auto Jobs Applier AI Hawk. I'll actually throw that in here. 404 Media is not a free site. You can get a free subscription, which will give you access to the full article if you want to go and take a look at it. So again, just interesting human interest story here where job seekers have been on the wrong end of technology for a while, and now maybe they're getting some tools to level up that playing field a little bit. All right. Let's get into the calls that happened this week. Again, I'm going to go on for a little bit longer. If you can hang out, great. If you need to bounce, I fully understand. And we will get into our community and get into the calls. So all of our calls are here in the on-demand library. Ooh, look at that. Chris's call from last night is already up here. So let's talk about what happened this week in our calls. So on the Monday call, this is our AI real world tools and their use cases. Segovia, our COO, guest hosted this. We talked about some generative tools like AI headshot tools. He introduced a tool that I wasn't aware of called Pika. That's PIKA.art, which is a new tool. And the purpose of the Monday tool is not necessarily to show, to teach you how a tool works, but how to apply it, how to use it in use cases. So we talked about that, talked about people on the call. As I said, these calls are interactive. So, Michael and Steve and Tina all shared some different use cases of things that they were doing. Again, AI generated headshots, all the tools. So when these call recordings get posted, all of the content. So if there were slides or anything else that went along with the presentation, those get posted. And then usually all of the tools that were mentioned on a particular call are included. So it was an interesting call on Monday. I appreciate Segovia pinch hitting to cover that call. I definitely learned a couple of things. And new call alert, ding, ding, ding. Our very own Christy has decided to take on the initiative of helping educate our community about AI governance. Okay, so this is a new call. It's on Mondays in the afternoon. This is a regular call that will be ongoing forward. And the purpose of the Monday call was to introduce AI governance principles and discuss some of the key challenges in implementing them, focusing on transparency, explainability, fairness, and non-discrimination. I didn't know that explainability was a criteria for something. So that was my big takeaway from the call is that, yeah, you got to be able to explain this. So Christy has taken on this initiative, governance, policies and procedures, compliance. In my world, those happen number two in the conversation that I'm having with a client. Number one is literacy. Okay, so let's learn what AI is and get rid of the myths and misconceptions and show you what the truth is. So AI literacy is number one. AI policies and compliance are number two. There's a great story about some intern that was working for some financial services company this summer on Wall Street and basically had a task and uploaded 20 years of financial history for a company, highly classified, highly proprietary information, but he was just trying to get an answer out of ChatGPT and went ahead and did this. So the call on Monday was an intro to governance. Christy talked about transparency and, as I said, explainability, and what are the challenges and the recommendations there, fairness and non-discrimination in AI. I brought up a topic about liability insurance for AI consultants. So if we're out there working with clients and we're working with their data, as an independent contractor, if we're out there as a fractional chief AI officer, we need to make sure that we've got coverage for liability protection, for what's called E&O, errors and omissions insurance. So if you go do something for somebody and it didn't work out, they can come back at you and sue you for damages and all that kind of fun stuff. So I brought that up as something that we'll talk a little bit more about in the call. But the call was really well attended. There was a lot of great conversation in the call. And again, we keep adding value. How much is everybody paying for the new AI governance call? Nothing. We're adding it. It's important. And again, thank you to Christy for stepping up on this initiative and bringing this really, really valuable information to us that
Super valuable. It's
Yeah.
super, it's priceless, guys.
you exactly. You can't, and nobody else is teaching this. Okay. Nobody else is teaching this. I've done a recent survey of some of the other courses that are out there, and no one's teaching it like we are. All right.
So Lee, I don't see that in the event schedule.
Okay.
I'll talk to my people.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe we put it up for a Monday, but it wasn't set up as a recurring event. So
Okay,
we'll get it up
perfect.
there. It's going to be 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern.
Perfect.
My response was going to be, Christy, I know a guy, but the guy happens to be on the call. So thank you, Segovia. Tuesday's call was prompting, and Tuesday call is always about prompting. It's led by Segovia, our COO and chief prompting guru wizard, and our chief product officer. This was a call that topic touched on interactive idea refinement and how that can be achieved using simple or more complex prompts, depending on the use case. He talked about pseudocode concepts and how that can be applied to create, more structured and reusable prompts. He showed prompt vault and how it can be used for creation, improvement, and sharing of your prompts. If you are on our call right now and you don't know what prompt vault is, there's a link to go get yourself a free prompt vault account. It is part of the AI Insider program. So if you want to check us out for the free 14-day trial, you'll get access to Prompt Vault. But this is a application that we built to kind of scratch our own itch internally, and we now have thousands of people that are using the platform and having great success with it. The really, really cool thing that I like about Prompt Vault is that it lets you run prompts right there. So you don't have to create the prompt in one environment and then copy and paste it and bring it over to a chat model that you're using and then come back and forth. So Segovia's call was well worth it. And here's a tip. With all the calls that we have and the expanding library that we have, if you want to create a mini course for yourself, you can by using these calls. So if you want to create a mini course just on prompting, go back and consume the Tuesday calls. If you want to create a mini course on the business model blueprint, which is the Wednesday call, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and you just want to dial in on that subject matter, go back and watch the Wednesday calls. So if you want to learn about governance, go back and watch what will be a collection of calls on Monday about governance. So you can kind of create your own little just-in-time learning model by leveraging all of the calls that we have in our ever expanding library. Wednesday's call, the AI Blueprint call. This is for people who are coaches or consultants or agencies that are looking to add AI services to their portfolio and bring it to the clients that they serve. It's also for people who are looking to start a business. So if you have a job now and you're learning AI and you want to go out and be a consultant or be somebody that goes out there and works with organizations as a fractional chief AI officer, how do you start a business? How do you prospect? How do you go out there and get leads and have these conversations? This is taught by Wayne, fellow in our community. Wayne owns an agency, an AI agency. He is out there every day on the street having conversations, and he's bringing that information back from the street and sharing it with us on Wednesday calls. So it's out there. It's not theoretical. It's what's working now. Very, very useful. As I said earlier in the call, fully 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes of this call was interactive, people talking about wins, answering questions, asking questions. It was really great. I know Wayne really loves the interactive component of this call, and it seems to be keep getting better every week. So we love that. There were some key takeaways here where Wayne talked about developing a robust email sequence, and he goes into details on the calls, um, hitting prospects up on a regular, scheduled basis, sharing industry-specific content, and really humanizing the interaction. So we're not selling technology, we're selling business solutions, and we should be thinking about it in the context of people first, AI second. So how can these AI tools, Mr. Business Owner, I've got a bunch of AI tools that can help your employees have a better experience here at work. They don't have to do the stuff that they don't like doing and aren't particularly good at. We can automate some of those things. So AI first, I'm sorry, people first, AI second. Wayne, that's his mantra, and we're sharing that. Talked about AI consulting, business fundamentals, content sharing, LinkedIn engagement, and everything else. So again, if you're interested in having a business or expanding your business into the AI space, that's what the Wednesday call is all about. Make a mini course, go back, catch it, and ramp up on that particular topic. Chris Lannon, this was mentioned in our call earlier about Chris's call on last night. So we have a call every Thursday evening called Workflow Winners Live. Chris is one of our fellows, and he leads this call on Thursdays. And this was interesting. The genesis, the idea for this particular call came about from another member of our community, Matt Ivy, who had a idea about he wrote a post about turning AI skeptics into believers. And he said, this would really be kind of cool if we could make a custom GPT that did this. Chris picked up the ball and ran with it. So last night, he went through building a custom GPT that would be we used the expression AI job security GPT last night, but that's probably not the thing that we want to call it. But the idea is to turn skepticism into curiosity and fear into empowerment. So it's useful to engage users in a Socratic conversation about AI helping them and how AI can be a powerful ally and not a threat. So it was a great call. There was some great conversation going on. Chris shared the link for the custom GPT, which needs to be added to this list here. And again, Chris's calls are always great. Sometimes we get into the weeds a little bit. This call was not in the weeds at all. It was very much a hands-on approach of how we build a custom GPT, and here's a real honest use case for it of working with people to help them not be afraid of it, to understand it, to empower them to make, you know, the right decisions in their education path and in their career path. Folks, that's it. I'm talked out and I have reached the end of my agenda. I want to thank you all so much again for being here today. If you had to leave and you're catching this on the recording, hello again. Anybody have any questions or additional comments on what we talked about today? I want to thank everybody for their participation and input on the call. Does anybody have any questions, comments, last thoughts before we bail out for the weekend? And if not, I'm just going to grab a copy of chat
Just a
here.
reminder, we have a call tomorrow morning if you're interested in participating
Yes.
in the workshop. That'll be 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, and you'll find the link in the community event schedule.
Hey Lee, just to play devil's advocate, I don't know if you guys had saw the article that Apple put out that was kind of playing the opposite view of where AI and some of this stuff was going. I don't want to say negative, but it was a different perspective. For
Yes.
sure.
Matt, I appreciate you mentioning that. I did read a headline that they had published something, but I haven't had the chance to go look at it yet. So it's on my list of things to read. People are taking various positions of what's going to happen and how fast it's going to happen and what kind of impact it's going to happen. And unfortunately, some of the impacts are going to be big and disruptive in the economy and in the job space. And I don't think the right people are thinking about what kind of impacts that's going to have in society. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple of years for sure. I look forward to reading the Apple paper. I appreciate that. If you just probably did a quick Google or Plex it, as they say now, instead of Googling it, we can just Plex it. You'll surface the article really fast. So it did come out this week. I did see that, but didn't get a chance. So appreciate you bringing that to the community. Thank you, Matt. All right. Everybody, have yourself a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Look forward to seeing you on calls in the community and back here next week for our wrap up. Have a great weekend, everybody.